Well, this is Ojiro's video. He's got a tail, and, he's blonde, and, ooh. Okay, remember last video when I said that Sato was, like, the, manifestation of just averageness, like, as that student that you just really forget about? Like, at least Sato kind of has some street cred just because he's the one that's, like, the least developed. I could see why people would focus on him just because it's like, hey, what about that kid that we don't know really a lot of stuff about, you know? Maybe we should focus on him. But Ojiro is in this weird kind of nexus space where he does stuff, and, you know, there are scenes in the story whereas he might not be super relevant, but at least he's there. Like, a lot of times with Sato, he doesn't really do anything. A lot of times with Sato, he's literally just in the crowd. Oh no, we might focus on Ojiro, like during the USJ. We had no idea where Sato was during the USJ, but we cut to a few scenes of Ojiro fighting it out with the villains in the conflagration zone. By the way, My Hero Academia is how I found out what the word conflagration even meant, because I didn't know what it means. Why can't they just say shit ton of fire? That would make a lot more sense. You know, then there was the scene at the Sports Fest when he was manipulated by Shinso's brainwashing quirk, and he tried to warn Izuku about it, so he had a little bit of spotlight there, you know, warning Izuku about what to expect and how he should protect himself. You know, pretty much every time Class 1A is in a major fight, we're gonna cut away to Ojiro at some point. Maybe it's like Horikoshi, like, oh, okay, Ojiro represents, like, the entire class that aren't the main characters, so it's like, okay, whenever the class is in a fight, I obviously have to focus on Izuku and Bakugo and Todoroki, because they're, like, the principal cast. Ida as well, I have to focus on the principal cast, but I'm gonna cut away to show Ojiro doing some stuff to prove that, like, oh no, the other class members are doing stuff too. Ojiro represents that. Look, I think just in general, because his quirk is really not all that impressive, it's not really unique, it's nothing incredible, it's just he has a tail. I don't know. I mean, Horikoshi had to sit down at some point and design all of these students, and, you know, he's like, alright, let's try to come up with a mix of kind of unique abilities, like Shoji's quirk, you know, dupla arms, you know, it's not something that's incredibly unique, because Nico Robin, but I'm just saying, like, the ability to have these appendages to create, like, various body parts, like eyeballs sticking out, that's at least pretty cool to draw and unique. Earphone jack, Jiro's quirk, that's pretty original. Let's also throw in some standard ones like ice and fire, but then, I don't know, it really does feel like, I don't know if this is accurate, but Ojiro might have been, like, the last person that Horikoshi designed for Class 1A. Like, he got to 19, and he's like, alright, there has to be one more. I don't know, let me just throw in a kid that has a tail. That's something that you could use. Now, listen, I'm not saying it's a weak quirk. I'm not saying it's pathetic, like there's nothing you can do with it, because there is a lot of stuff you can do with it. And in fact, Ojiro's hero name is the martial art hero Tailman. Going along with, like, Sato's, you know, Sugar Man and stuff. It's just like, these are sounding more like Mega Man villains than you know, anime. But alright, whatever, I'll roll with it. Tailman, you do in fact have a tail. There might be some copyright issues there, because I highly doubt that Ojiro is the only hero in the world that happens to have a tail. You know, I think they might be some copyright, like, you might have to rebrand yourself there, like, Uber Tailman, or Super Tailman, or Whiplash. Oh, that would be an awesome hero name. I'm pretty sure there's already a hero somewhere in DC or Marvel with the name of Whiplash, because that's such a cool name, because you take out your tail, I'm Whiplash, boom, knock someone right upside the head and, you know, break their neck, and that's how you do it, okay. But, think about it. If you are practicing any sort of martial art, you know, you have your hands, you have your legs. I don't know if there's any martial arts out there that really focus on headbutting, but that might be out there. But add an extra appendage to that, and you got a few more, you know, versatile skills that you could pull off. You know, like, if Ojiro really trains himself in, like, karate or various, you know, martial arts and just modifies it for the sake of his extra appendage, that could be really useful. And his tail isn't like a cat tail. It's not like this squirrely little thing. No, his tail is thick. Ojiro is thick, son. Right? So he's got this giant tail behind him that looks like it would be extremely painful if you got hit with it. Either slapped upside the head, or he could, like, you know, use the tail to, like, ooh, right in the stomach. Like, getting hit by that tail, like, right in the stomach would probably hurt just as much as if you're getting punched or kicked right in the freaking thing. It's even thicker than his legs, so I don't know how much muscle control he has over that thing, but, you know, it's strong enough to actually, like, swing around on things like he's a monkey, so he could be in the, you know, in an urban setting, he could be jumping between buildings and using his tail and grabbing, like, flagpoles and, like, the edges of buildings and shit, and you know, he could, you know, jump around, have to be careful because you don't want to fall, you know, just like any other appendage also, it can be broken or sprained. So that's the situation there. You gotta watch out for that. So it's useful in combat. I mean, if you're in close combat with Ojiro, you can't just look out for his, you know, his fists and his, you know, kicks, which he's also training in as well. His hero outfit, in fact, just looks like a martial arts gi. So I'm sure that was, and his martial arts hero is his epithet, so I would assume that he was training in various martial arts his entire life. In fact, given the fact this is the My Hero Academia universe, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if at some point there was like a tail-based superhero that opened up a dojo for other heroes that have, you know, extra appendages, because there's some heroes that have 3 arms or extra legs. Maybe there's some kid that has a centaur quirk and he has, like, you know, horse legs. You know, and Ojiro just happens to have a tail. In fact, there might be other heroes that have more than 1 tail. You know, like 9 tails maybe? I don't know. There might be somebody like Wobbuffet who has, like, the weird eye tail. You know, that would be cool if his tail had, like, a special ability, but it doesn't. It's just a tail. Okay, well, let's go through the stuff that he's did. Well, he first appeared really relevantly during the battle trial, teamed up with Hagakure. Yeah, I already brought this up. And by the way, most people seem to be shipping Hagakure and Ojiro together. They at least seem to be good friends, and they talk to each other a lot whenever we see them around, so they're the ones that they get paired up, so okay, sure. Might make sex a little bit of awkwardness. Oh, man, I just thought of something extreme. Because, you know, be like, oh, let's say they get together. Okay, I'm not going to go super, super hentai with it, but they get together, and they're having sex, and then, you know, maybe they don't wear protection, and Ojiro's like, oh, I hope I got it in the right... Okay, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry, but that could legitimately happen, and that would be an extreme concern, okay? Wear protection, kids. It's very important. Okay, but yeah, they're usually paired up. In the battle trial, we didn't really get to see him do anything because Todoroki was the one that he was paired up against. Todoroki and Shoji versus Hagakure and Ojiro. Ojiro and Hagakure were guarding the bomb. Todoroki just walked in and just froze the entire building from the ground up, so their, you know, feet were stuck. And that was really the first badass moment we got with Todoroki, because Todoroki, he walks in, and the anime adds this, I don't know if it was in the manga, it might have been, but the anime added this weird, like, glowing eye effect to Todoroki, like he was a demon or something, like, don't even try. You could attempt to fight me, but you would have to pry off the, you know, have to rip off the skin on the soles of your feet, right? That sounds pretty painful. And I'm sitting, by the way, was I the only one sitting there like, Ojiro, you have a tail. Did his tail get frozen too? Because I don't think it did. That doesn't even make any sense if the tail got frozen. His feet were touching the ground. That makes sense. But Ojiro was frozen in place. Is like, man, he's right. There's nothing I can do to stop Todoroki. He froze my feet to the ground. I can't move at all. If only I had an extra appendage that was longer than my arms, but damn it. Now, I'm sure in that situation, Ojiro was like, there's no shit. I mean, he could have attempted to, you know, hit Todoroki with his tail, but it wouldn't have done anything. All that would have happened there was Todoroki would have just either dodged it or grabbed it and then just froze that too, so you understand the situation there, right? Okay. By the way, Todoroki's early costume was kind of stupid. I mean, I understand why he had it designed that way because of he, you know, despised Endeavor, so he wanted his entire body to be ice, but I don't know. It just looks like really cheap plastic whenever I look at it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm deviating from... Ojiro is so unassuming and just so ordinary that I'm now just like, can we just make this the Todoroki video from now? The Ojiro video, that was the warm-up act. Now can we get to the Todoroki video? I feel like he's going to be coming up next. I feel like, I don't know, I've just been feeling some Todoroki last few days. Like, I've been rewatching a lot of stuff with him, you know, the current state of the manga and everything. I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm going to roll that die. I believe Todoroki is number 15. I'm feeling number 15. All right, well, anyway. Moving on beyond that, we had USJ, where he was in the conflagration zone, also known as the oh my god, it's on fire zone. You should have just called it that. That would have been a lot more. The whole point of the USJ was it was the United Simulated Joint. It was the place that simulated all these disasters, so they should have, like, constant, like, they should name all the various attractions, like, holy crap, it's a flood! Oh my god, it's burning on fire, please help! You know, holy shit, this boat got overturned, somebody please save these sailors! You know, to add the intensity. They should also pump in music on the sound system of people screaming. It would work really well for the proper training of what heroes have to expect. Okay, but anyway, he got sent to the conflagration zone. He was basically in there by himself. He was one of the heroes that got separated. It wasn't a big concern, though, because the villains he fought against were just the grunt soldiers. They weren't, like, you know, he didn't take on, like, Kurogiri or anything major. So, he even stated later at the end of the arc, I used my primarily hit-and-run tactics, where the conflagration zone, I mean, it was on fire, but he could also hide in the buildings and stuff and jump down and, like, smack two villains upside the head with his tail, and then duck back into the building using his improved agility with his tail, so alright. During the Sports Fest is probably the first time that we really got to see him, you know, have the spotlight, you know, like Horikoshi's like, okay, Ojiro, here, you can have the mic for, like, one chapter. So, he gets manipulated by Shinso during the cavalry battle, and because of that, he gets brainwashed. They, you know, continue on to the next round, to the, you know, the final battle, the actual individual matchups. However, Ojiro, as well as with another student from Class 1B, both withdraw at that point because they realize that they were being manipulated by Shinso's quirk. They didn't actually participate. You know, they weren't really, they were there, but they weren't mentally there. So they don't feel right for continuing onward. So they both withdraw. And then Ojiro, after he finds out that Izuku's fighting against Shinso during the first round, he kind of, like, pulls him away, like, Izuku, I need to tell you something. Now, I love this. I love that scene because it shows that, like, okay, they're not stupid, and it's not like Izuku's gonna be like, don't tell me about my opponent. No, 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 because Shinso is being kind of unfair here, because he's just, you know, no one really knows what his quirk was up till that point, so he's just using that knowledge against them, and it's a really OP quirk. It's a ridiculously OP quirk. Basically, how Shinso's brainwash quirk works is, whenever he asks a question to someone and they respond, that's all it takes, and he has complete dominance over their brain. Now, not every question does it. He has to, you know, actively choose when to initiate his quirk. But it could just be something simple like, hey, you ready to start this fight? And his opponent could be like, damn straight! That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So, it's kind of unfair. And so, you know, Ojiro takes Izuku aside, and he's like, I'm gonna tell you about this guy's quirk. And Ojiro does. They go back into the locker room, and they sit down, and I have a big problem with this scene. Here's the problem with the scene. It's not a problem with Ojiro. It's more of a problem with Izuku, okay? So Ojiro sits Izuku's ass down and tells him straight up, he's like, listen, I don't know exactly how his quirk works. All I know is that he was talking to me, and the second that I responded to him, my mind went blank. So I don't exactly know how it's triggered. I don't know if it's a specific thing he has to say, or if it has to be phrased a certain way, or if it's a certain thing that I said. All I know for a fact is this guy's quirk is triggered when you respond to him. And there was even a moment when, before the fight, Shinso was about to talk to Izuku, and Izuku was about to open his mouth, and Ojiro used his tail to like, I gotta talk to you about something. Okay. So that's all they know. So he tells Izuku this information, and I'm sitting there reading that, and I'm like, this was back when I was reading My Hero Academia for the first time. This was before the anime was even out yet. This is when I was just reading the manga. And I'm like, okay, awesome. Izuku's not going to screw this up, right? Izuku screws it up. He screws it up, and he screws it up in the most cliche way imaginable, where all it takes is Shinso trash-talking, and then all that, you know, Izuku's like, I won't stand for you trash-talk! Oh. Come on, Izuku, come on! You had one job! My god! Someone came up to you and said, Izuku, just don't talk to him. Don't say a word. It's a fight anyway! I know it's anime. I know it's pretty standard in anime battles that the characters have to go on a long diatribe or at least talk a little bit during the fight, but it's a fight, for God's sake! All you gotta do is get in the ring, don't open your mouth, and beat the crap out of him, and you win! That's it! Tape your mouth shut, like literally what I would do. Okay, oh, Ojiro, okay, as long as I don't talk, I'll be good. Alright, just to make sure that I don't, accidentally speak or something. Let me see if I can get some tape, just to make sure I don't accidentally say something stupid during this fight. Ha! Done! You know, done! At that point, alright? But no, Izuku's like, okay, Ojiro, I'll take your advice. And all it takes is a little bit of trash talking, and Shinso gets him to speak. I'm like, crap. Now, of course, there was the badass scene after that with One for All, and, you know, him seeing the ghostly images of days long past, like the previous avatars or whatever, but that was a cool scene, and I wanted that. I will admit that was, you know, I'm glad Horikoshi included that. So I guess I don't really know what I'm complaining about. It just seems it's kind of stupid on Izuku's part, don't you think? Don't you freaking think? Okay, fine, whatever. But anyway, after that, oh crap, what did he do? Oh, he was teamed up with Ida during the end of terms exams, and that was a cool fight. They were up against Power Loader, okay? And Power Loader, I love his design. He's just this really thin, lanky dude, but he has just giant, like, bulldozer battle armor on. Like, you know, just imagine Tony Stark if Tony Stark was just really into construction, okay? If he was really into Tonka when he was a kid. By the way, I was into Tonka when I was a kid. Tonkas were freaking awesome. There were these neat CD-ROM games you could play, Tonka. Remember those? You could, like, build the streets and everything, and there was the Tonka Space Station game where you had to go around with, like, a moon rover and collect rocks. Can we just make this a Tonka video now? But no, Ida and Ojiro were teamed up against Power Loader, and it was a cool thing where they come up with a plan where they, like, combine together, like, Mecha Robot, Ida, Ojiro, combine! The Leg Man and the Tail Man. That sounds like a 1980s, like, you know, movie or whatever. The Leg Man and the Tail Man. Bust up some bank robbers. But Ida uses his Recipro, Turbo Boost to kick Ojiro, whose tail is wrapped around Ida's leg, and then they just use that combination, and then they just rocket toward the exit, and that's how they pass. And that was pretty clever. So, yeah. And they were working together rather well. You know, they were like, okay, Power Loader is not really a good matchup for either of our quirks, so if this was a real-life scenario, which is what the test was about, like, okay, if you're in a real situation against a villain like this, you know, our quirks aren't suited for this, so let's retreat and bring backup. That's what our plan was, and they both agree, they don't argue, and they're like, gotcha, let's do that. Now, it's possible that Ojiro was just, like, deferring to Ida because he knows Ida's the class rep and he's super smart and everything, so he might be just like, okay, whatever strategy Ida comes up with, I'm gonna listen to. Which is also a pretty smart move, to know that, hey, there's other classmates that are smarter than I am, that know better than I am for right now. I should defer to them unless they say something really stupid, okay? But they seem to get along rather well, so okay. During the Nothing in Stain, nothing involving the forest arc, I think he was one of the kids that was in the lodge, so they didn't really get to see any action during the training camp. You know, his training was actually up against Kirishima, and Kirishima, like, increased his hardening ability by getting slammed with Ojiro's thick tail over and over again, and then Ojiro increased his tail's durability and flexible, you know, and you know, versatility by attacking Kirishima over and over again. So that's how they were fighting. It actually makes me think that Ojiro's tail might be like a little bit of a callus, like it's thicker skin than other parts of his body, so it can actually handle slamming into Kirishima's hardened body, or maybe he could, you know, break a wall with it or something. It's a little bit more like just the skin on it is thicker than the average, like your hands or your legs or anything like that. But beyond that, he didn't do anything during the Chisake arc. Provisional license exam. Okay, he was training with ectoplasm. I think there was a scene where they were like, oh, you need to train other parts of your body, not just your tail. And Ojiro's like, yeah, sure. My quirk is my tail, so it's more of just, like, training for a normal human being. Like, a normal human, like, you want to get stronger? Try a martial art. That's pretty good. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm basically just like basically just normal training, not even training involving a quirk, just training involving, because, you know, fair enough, he puts a lot of his training into his tail, so he might not be as versatile with his, you know, punches or locks or, you know, grabs with his hands. You know, he might be able to do that rather well with his tail, but not with his hands and legs. I keep saying hands and legs. I guess it would be arms and legs would be the more, you know, appropriate thing there. But okay, he did that. During the provisional license exam itself, we don't really get to see him all that much. He did not bust out like a super ultimate move or something. We might see that in the anime, though, because they added that extra filler scene in the last episode that focused on, like, Jiro and Momo and the chick that was drinking the tea and whatever. Which, by the way, can we just talk about that for a second? All right, your quirk involves drinking tea. Okay, that's fine, but when you're going up against battle and the villains, you're not going to be able to be like, oh my god, villains are attacking the church. I don't know why I made that, but I usually use the bank robbery example, but that's been used way too much. So they're attacking the church. Hold on, let me go down to Starbucks and get me a cup of tea and... Okay, you're not going to be able to do that when you're actually out there being a hero, so do what Sato does, lady. Just get some iced tea in a bottle and just keep it on your belt or in between your boobs or in your purse or whatever and just drink that whenever... Villains attacking! Glug, glug, glug. And if it has to be, like tea that has to be warmed and stuff, then that's just... You shouldn't even try to be a hero at that point. That's a really inconvenient quirk. You know, but whatever. They had a filler episode involving that girl and Momo's team, so maybe they'll do something similar, maybe with Ojiro in the provisional. We'll see. Maybe he'll have ultimate move Tail Breaker or Tail Whirlwind or something, or uses his tail to plants his tail into the ground and he sits up like this and he just starts fighting his opponents. I don't know, that wouldn't really be practical, but hey, in terms of balance, it would be really good because let's say your opponent, you're in a straight up like fist fight with your opponent, like martial arts, and your opponent hits you, you're about to get knocked down, but oh, I got a tail! And then, or you can like whip around and attack them from behind or something. So there's a bunch of cool things you could do with a freaking tail. It's just in terms of, like, all the other quirks that are out there in My Hero Academia universe, that one just kind of comes up short, you know what I mean? Is that it? Okay, oh, the one thing I always forget when I do these videos, I always forgot to actually list, last time I threw up the image, I always remember to throw up the image, like Sato rank 20, but I forgot to bring that up. And, you know, the only reason I put Sato at number 20 is just because we don't... I'm okay with him, it's just that we don't know that much about him, so I'm like, alright, he would be a good spot for the last, you know, thing on the list. Where did I put Ojiro? I put Ojiro at 19. That's about right, and it's even more bland than Sato. At least Sato has the... You ranked 20th, so at least you have something to go on there, like you're ranked dead last, but what do you say about the person that's ranked second from dead last? You know, it's this piece of philosophy I always had in my life. Are you ready for some Tekking wisdom? You know how this was mostly back when I was in school, you know, because you go to school, at least in the United States, you go to school Monday through Friday, so 5 days a week, okay? And every Monday morning, everyone would always be complaining, and they'd be tired, and they'd be like, oh, I don't want to go back to school. Monday sucks. I hate Monday. Monday is horrible. We just got back from the weekend. My philosophy on this was that Tuesday was, in fact, the worst day out of the week. By far. Because, yeah, Monday does suck because you just had the weekend, you gotta wake up early and everything like that, but think about Tuesday, because when you wake up on Tuesday morning, you think to yourself, all of that work, all of that exhaustion I felt yesterday on Monday, that barely put a dent in the week. I still have 4 more days of this. It's a Tuesday. All of that crap we had to deal with on Monday, we're not even halfway through the damn week yet. We still got all day today. And tomorrow. And Thursday. And then finally Friday. You got a long way left. So I was way more upset waking up on a Tuesday morning than a Monday morning, okay? There's been a lot of tangents in this video to get us something. I feel like if I just got out here and just straight up told you, like, alright, here's everything about Ojiro, this video would be done in, like, 8 minutes. So, okay, we had to talk about Todoroki and then Tonka and then my philosophy on the days of a week for a little bit. But yeah, Ojiro ranks 19. Oh, if you're wondering about the tail... You know, I thought, like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, one of my fans that's actually a furry messaged me and said, hey, Matt, I have this tail. I can send it to you. The only issue there is, you know, I didn't think it was going to get here in time, so I didn't order it. So I was like, I mean, I didn't say it's okay, but, you know, thank you for offering anyway. If anything else, this should really prove that I'm not a furry, because if you think about it, if I was a furry, I would have way more stuff to go on than this. I mean, this is already a little bit disturbing. You have all the evolutions back here mooning you, and you have the Ninetales mooning you, and you have Wobbuffet's creepy eye tail staring into your soul, and you have Fappy back there, you know. But hey, you know, I don't have a tail. I don't have a tail. I don't have one. What am I gonna do? But anyway, yeah. So is that everything? I mean, I think I covered pretty much everything. I wanted to cover the thing with Izuku and the Sports Fest and the Hagakure relationship. Okay, can we start moving this along now? Can we get some action? Hey, at least we're knocking out all the kind of normal bland ones in one go. Okay, Coda is still left. I think Coda is the only one that's left that'll be kind of like a sort of video, because I think all the other students, like all of the girls, I'm gonna be having fun with, because that's, you know where that's going. Ida's video, there's a lot of stuff to go off. Obviously Todoroki and Izuku's, even Shoji. Like I said, I like Shoji, so Shoji's video is going to be fun. Kirishima's video is going to be a lot of fun because he did a lot of cool shit during the Chisake arc, so we're going to see him. Mineta, I have a plan for what Mineta's video is going to be. So, yeah. Yeah, I think the only real one would be Coda that would be like, And Coda is number 9, so as long as we don't roll number 9, I think we'll be set. Alright, are you guys ready to roll that d20? I know I am! Alright, here we go! We're probably gonna have a duplicate, you know, what are you gonna do? But anyway, 12, that was Jiro. Okay, roll again. We're just gonna have to, 12 again. At one point, we're just gonna have to keep going down the line until we get something different. 12, 3... I can't recover from that, so... Nah, just kidding! Spontaneous musical number! Ba-da-da-da-da-da! I'm talking about the frog girl! Talking about the best girl in My Hero Academia! It's Tsuyu Asui, and she will be in the next episode! Rabbit tail! By the way, in case you're disturbed, don't be, alright? It's not actually a bunny tail. It is, in fact, a Santa hat. So, there you go. Now, I know. You were kind of freaked out there for a little bit that I actually had a real-life bunny tail. But I don't, because I'm not a furry. Just a Santa hat.